Aloha and welcome to my channel. Have you ever thought about your past? Maybe way back when, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years or more? Maybe you've never even thought you'd be where you are today with the skill sets that you have, with the things that you know, and everything, the knowledge, the education, and so forth. Allow me to take you through a very, very colorful past of mine that way back when I couldn't even conceive myself in doing the things that I do today, having the gifts and or talents that I have today as well. But it's a very, very colorful and interesting path, and I believe that a lot of you perhaps may resonate with this and may find yourselves in some of these things that I am about to talk upon. Now, everything from my past is very relevant today and brings me up to date today with how I am, who I am, what I know. The skeptic. At a very early age, I was very skeptical about particular things. And these particular things include psychic things, psychic abilities, psychics in general, everything under that umbrella of psychic gifts as well. In the 80s, when I was going to high school, along with my brother, my older brother, he became very intrigued and interested in all things psychic. And he spoke about these things with me. I had no interest whatsoever. I was somewhat aware of those things, but it never truly interested me as much as it did him. Fast forward to his passing in 1989 at a very young age of 27. Once that occurred, everything exploded for myself. I was not expecting things to explode in such a manner for me. Now, this was a major pinnacle in my life during the time and his passing. It was something that I could not deal with, something I could not handle at my age. It was just overwhelming for me to take on. But at the same time, this was the pinnacle for me to take on a whole lot of stuff that I was not interested and he was interested in, stuff that psychic things are made of. Immediately after his passing, I began to get all kinds of different psychic things occurring with myself. I would say internally, externally, and it became so overwhelming that I thought I was basically going crazy. And at the same time, I was thinking to myself, why is this being all thrust upon me when I have two younger siblings? How's about sharing this load there? But no, evidently it was all on my plate. This is something I don't wish upon anyone whatsoever, especially if it's so overwhelming that it does have the potentiality to drive someone crazy and out of their wits. I'm surprised I didn't go out of my wits. After his passing, not too long after, he began to visit my mother, and he tried to visit myself. But during that time, I was not open to receiving him because I was blocking him, literally. And what I mean by blocking him from coming to me, your emotions can block an individual from reaching you, especially if they're trying to reach you from the other side. So the emotions that I was going through was anger, frustration, confusion, sadness, depression, and all of those things because of his passing. So he could not reach through to me. He was always reaching through to my mother because she was always open, and she always had an open heart for him no matter what. And the hard part about it was that he was missing for months, and no one could find him, and we had search crews going out like daily or weekly, and yeah, it was very, very overwhelming. My mother was very, very strong during that time, and she would be on the news doing interviews and things like that. She'd have appointments with psychics, but there was one psychic that my mother could not make it. Therefore, she sent me in her place. When I think about it now, I wish I never went in her place. There is this one really famous psychic here by the name of Lon, and she happens to be on the island of Oahu, and she is in the Kapahulu side of Oahu. So she's always busy, she's always packed. She has a home, and everyone goes to her home to get readings and sessions from her. And during that time, I went with an aunt and another family member because we were trying to find him. So we went, and we didn't have an appointment, and there were a lot of people waiting in line in the waiting room, and they all had appointments, and we didn't have one. So my aunt approached all those people, and they asked if we could bypass them because of an emergency. And she was fortunate enough where they all allowed us to go past them and ahead of them. Now, when this psychic drawed up cards from her deck, every single card was black, and every single card was spades, and it did not look good in her view. And she started to talk about the situation. She began to speak about what she saw. She could not see or pinpoint a place accurately, but she did tell us, or tell me, enough to what he looked like. In a nutshell, she saw a lot of blood, and she told me a lot of more things as well. I could not handle this reading whatsoever, not at my age, during that time when I was 26. Then she stopped, and then she looked at me, and she said, "Leave now." She wanted me out of her place, and she would not accept a dime from us. She refused to take our money. She just wanted us to leave. The situation was really bad, what she saw. After that reading, I could not walk out of her house. I could not walk out of that place. My aunt literally had to hold me up while walking out of that place. I mean, I cannot express what I was feeling during that time. I mean, it was just, I don't know, shock, horror, all these god-awful feelings going on in me just from that reading. But I was the lucky one to go into that reading, eh? After that, I think maybe about a month or so, a family that lived up the road from my grandparents' home contacted my grandparents and they had a message for our family. And the thing is, my family did not know who that family was, but they had an urgent message for us. My brother got through to this family, and this family relayed the message that he had for our family, and it was really interesting. That family had a letter and they gave to my family, and I read the letter, and my mother asked if I knew that was really him speaking through the letter. And I told her, yes, that is his soul speaking to us. It is his soul. It isn't his humanness, but his soul. And he spoke about several many things. He also brought up the Creator, and that he was with the Creator now. And he couldn't understand a lot of things within our family, in particular family members. He did not name names, but we all knew exactly who he was describing in that letter. And the very next day, his body was found. Now, this experience was a very strong and potent experience that I needed to go through for the next overwhelming things that began to occur with me. It was as if the floodgates had opened for myself. I wasn't even asking, I wasn't even looking or searching or even interested in any of these things whatsoever. Perhaps I have chosen this before I came, which I believe so now, that I have chosen these particular pinnacles and experiences to open doors in remembering my gifts and or talents. But at the time, it was just too much. It was so overwhelming for me. Now, some of you may relate to some of these things that I am talking about, and if so, do share your experiences down below in the comments. Help this community to grow and learn from your sharing of your comments. But yes, the overwhelmingness of everything was just too much. It was too much. I ended up opening, well, what occurred was, it was like the beginning and the opening of all the clairs of myself. Now, you hear of people having one clair or another clair. Well, for me, it was every single one of them. I had all the clairs, and it busted wide open all at the same time. And I didn't understand any of this. And all of this was so overwhelming for me that I needed to look for help, guidance, classes. Luckily, I found instructors, teachers, classes that could help me to understand more better about what was actually happening to me at that time. So yeah, I took on all these classes at the time because I needed to know exactly what I was doing, what was happening to me, how to better able handle all of these psychic things. I wasn't afraid of any of it. I was more pissed and irritated more than anything else. Fear never even entered my mindset. Just being pissed off at all of this stuff and trying to get over that grieving process of having to have lost my older brother. it was too much for me. It was as if everything opened up. The other side was like a free for all. The veil just whoosh, disappeared, and everyone and anyone started to come through to me, whether I knew them or not. They supposedly knew somebody that I know down the line, and so forth. So everybody knew that I was an open channel because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what was going on with myself. So everyone started coming through. It got to the point where I learned how to turn it on and turn it off. And I just said to everyone, pick a number and wait in line. If I get to you, I get to you. If not, I'm not the only one here. There's a zillion other people out there. So you might wait forever. But the multitude of experiences, psychic experiences that I've gone through or grown through is really incredible, because it was so much, and to me that started the path of awakening for myself, by awakening to my true powers, my psychic gifts. They were all coming online for me, and I needed to better understand it, better harness it, deal with it. There was no way around it, so it was a part of me, so I just needed to do the best that I could. And as the years would progress, so too would these gifts, these abilities. They would morph, and they would shift, and they would upgrade and advance and become heightened. A lot of my metaphysical gifts, so to speak, would become heightened and or advanced. Therefore, I would need to learn how to adjust to everything. Everything became a process for myself. Just too much. It just became just too much. So probably, I think it was maybe 1, 2, 3 years. I think 1 year after the passing of my brother, I met a psychic, and I thought that was funny because she was working at Sears. And I was thinking to myself, what kind of psychic works at Sears? I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. I wasn't interested in her anyway, but my sister, my sister was interested in her, and my sister really wanted me to go talk to her and all of that stuff. And so I went to talk to her with my sister. Then she wanted me to, come over. She needed to talk to me, so I went over to her place. I spoke to her, and she started me off on my first set of crystals. Where that set is, I have no clue where it is to this day, but she became a really, really good friend, and to the point where I started reading her, and she would turn to me and she'd say, "You're good. You're real good." But there was a point in time when all of my friends were only psychics. Every single one of them. They were either teachers, psychics, and what have you. But that was pretty interesting. But I continued to take classes because I still felt like I needed to learn more to better able to handle all of this stuff continuously coming at me. And it's very strange because in the early 90s, I began to write a book. I didn't finish it, but I began to write several chapters. I had no idea what I was writing in that book. But when I went back to read it not too long ago, a couple of years ago, when I went back to read it, everything that I was writing in that book had everything and anything to do with being multi-dimensional. And through the years, more and more things began to open up for myself. I guess I hit certain pinnacles, especially when it's very intense, like you go through intense experiences, and then these pinnacles just burst wide open. I'm not sure if you experience that. Maybe you relate to this as well. But over the years, I've learned to embrace it all, not resist it, not be in fear of it, just embracing everything that comes my way, learning how to manage or deal with it as best as I can as well. But it's pretty crazy when you can see people's auras and they're not even in your presence. They're miles and miles away from you. And you see their auras from miles away. It's crazy when you feel the color of their aura and they're far away from you. Pretty insane stuff. What's more interesting is when you see and you feel the individual and their past life. You see them as they are right now, in this now moment, walking in front of you, walking around you. You see them as earth angels. You see them as one I saw as a bear, one I saw as a phoenix. I saw many earth angels. Pretty insane stuff, but wonderful at the same time. Gets even crazier when you begin seeing past lives of yours. When something triggers something in you or around you without any assistance. That has happened as well for myself. Just by looking in the mirror at one time. That scared the crap out of me when I was looking in the mirror at one time. And I was practicing my Halloween costume face, painting it all different kind of ways whatsoever. For some odd reason, I stopped and I looked at the mirror and I looked at the funny looking painting all over my face. And all of a sudden, I was no longer here. I was there, somewhere out there, but yet still here. And what I saw was me in another past life as a shaman. That scared the crap out of me, and I ran out of the bathroom. So many things. Too many things that I'm not even sure I'm putting them all in here. I'm putting as much as I can recall sharing here. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to what I'm sharing with you all. And being able to align all of your bodies back into alignment, balance, and centeredness right after getting into a car accident. That was incredible. Now the purpose of me sharing this all is to let you know you're okay. You're not going crazy. There's a reason and a season for things of this nature to occur with you. You're like the chosen. And if it's overwhelming and it's too much, there's always help out there that can assist you. But know that you're the one. You're the one that can handle all of these things. And know that your intuition is going to be super heightened, like on steroids. And more than likely, all of your other gifts and or abilities, psychic abilities, will also be heightened, because that's what happened to me over the years. They became heightened and advanced. It's funny because my family, their religious background is Mormons, and they have different rituals and things that you go through and so forth. And there's this one thing that a lot of the Mormons achieve, is they go for their patriarchal blessing. So that blessing, it's a paper, and after you go through the motion of going to the church, doing the tithing and all these other church things, and then you're worthy of getting your patriarchal blessing. And so when I got that patriarchal blessing and I read it, I had to laugh, because part of it said that I will have gifts, abilities or something like that in it, and I laughed, and I was like, I don't need this piece of paper to tell me this. I've already been experiencing all this through the years, so this is kind of a little bit too late. But just to let you know, you don't have to be afraid of these things. It is happening to many people for a reason. And it could be various reasons that you'll find out for yourself, because I found out for myself. So you'll find out for yourself. Don't be scared. Don't be in fear. Don't believe what anybody tells you, because you're going through these experiences on your own, and it's happening to you and nobody else. So you want to actually get to the bottom of it all, because that's exactly what I did. I got to the bottom of it all. I didn't let anything outside of me interfere or influence how I went about in learning and growing and being able to handle all this, because a lot of things are filtered. And so if you're going to the church, and if you're like my church that my family comes from, it sometimes there's not sometimes a lot of times there's blinders on, okay? And a lot of times a lot of people believe what they're told. I can't believe that. I have to experience things. That's why I don't go anymore. I respect, religions. I respect the people there and everything. That is their path. That is not my path. I did try to throw myself back in every so many years, but for some odd reason, I did not fit in there. I don't know. I felt like I expanded, and I've expanded so much for myself. But knowing that foundation from my family, it's something that my family put us all through. It wasn't something that I chose. We were all young. We don't know any better, so we just follow the pack, right? So I got out. Now, I'm not dissing anybody. I'm not dissing any religion or religious whatever backgrounds like that, because to each his own. Everybody, there's a reason and a season for everybody to be where they need to be. So I was there where I needed to be, when I needed to be during that time. But frankly, to tell you the truth, in all honesty, I was there physically, but my mind was Who knows? I just didn't get it. Basically, I just did not get it. Because to me, the creator is not just in a box. Creator is everywhere, in all things, including us. Now I'm still learning. I have not stopped learning. I continue to learn, and I continue to grow, and I continue to expand in more ways than one, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually as well. I continue to allow and accept. I continue to have even the grace of compassion for all sentient beings and oneness with all there is, all that the Creator is in and of, including ourselves. But through my observations through the years, I have observed and perhaps come to certain conclusions that we are being led to certain signposts and guided to certain particular people in order for us to expand and to grow beyond what we are, as well as where we are in life. As these gifts expanded and advanced and became heightened, I spiritually was guided to others that are more advanced, more knowledgeable, more intelligent, for me to better understand even more as my consciousness and entire being expands and expands. And I like that and because it takes me exactly where I need to be. My higher self takes me where I need to be, who I need to see, what I need to read, and what I need to learn in order for this expansion to grow even more and more. But not just growing even more and more, but knowing that we are in constant communication with all there is, with all sentient beings. Everything has consciousness, and everything communicates with us on a daily basis, if not every second of our lives. Everything mirrors and reflects back to us at the same time. So telepathy is a universal language, and everyone, all sentient beings, all species, all creatures telepathically speak to one another. So open those ears, open the mental ears, and be able to hear all there is. Also know that we are not the only civilization on this planet. This is one planet, but there's so many different planets, star systems, constellations that have zillions of civilizations. We are not the only one. We are the baby of them all. A lot of these different civilizations, galactic, cosmic, extraterrestrial, whatever you may define and call them as, are highly advanced. They are way advanced, light years, hundreds, if not thousands and millions of light years in advancement than humans are. We as humans have yet so much more to learn, especially if humanity is still barbaric and is still divided, still kills one another and everything. So yeah, we got a whole lot more to learn before we can advance to these other advanced civilizations. Just put it this way, none of them is going to come here until we get our act together, until there's peace and nobody's killing each other and out for vengeance and all of those things, that is a lower frequency, is a lower vibration. Once you get out of the lower vibration and you get into the higher frequencies, and then you'll be able to experience and expand and learn even more of these advanced things, knowledge, information. You'll be able to bilocate. You'll be able to see and feel what the light body actually looks like and feels like. It's very intense. That's all I can say about that. But once you hone all of your abilities, all of your skills, psychic abilities, energetic abilities, however you define them as, you will grow and you'll catapult even faster and farther. It's just amazing. It's an amazing journey and path to be on, especially when you straddle different realities, different dimensions. Now, all the dimensions exist simultaneously. I can't really put a number on it, but if I do put a number on it, it's just for human understanding, human consciousness understanding, because these realities are infinite, they are eternal, and there's no end and no beginning to it all. It is a journey, it is a path of remembering ourselves, remembering our first estate, remembering all that we are as an empowered being of light, remembering that we are a spark of the Creator. Therefore, the Creator is within us. The Creator is within all sentient beings, not just humans, but everywhere. Galaxies, stars, planets, other beings as well, beyond our imagination. So I hope this helps some to understand. Perhaps you may be growing through, you may be going through, you can relate to some of these things, if not a lot of them. Put them below, put your comments, share it with us in the comments down below. It'll be really interesting to hear your experiences in what you've been growing through and how you manage to move through these experiences, because we all move through it differently. Some of us fast, some of us crazy. You know, me, it took a while and I needed a lot of help. So I was led to all these different places and people to learn how to deal with and better handle these things for myself. Anyway, guys and gals, I hope you enjoyed this post, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. Like, share, and hit the notification bell for all upcoming posts from this channel. Have a great day. Aloha.